Greetings, chaotic fans. My name is Q-Rex. I'm not really famous on the YouTube channel, but I wanted to post my own chaotic video because I've been hearing some rumors from the creator of one of the creators, actually, of the Chaotic Show, that they were bringing it back within late 2022 to early 2023. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm hoping it is. I've collected a lot of chaotic cards, but I've never actually built an official deck. So I decided to build 3 chaotic decks with my favorite tribes. With my 3 favorite tribes. I'm starting off with my favorite tribe of all, the Mipedians. It is a 60 card deck, which means there are 10 creatures, 10 battle gear, 10 music, 10 locations, and 20 attack cards. At first, I thought of just making them 6-on-6 team decks, but I thought, why not make it 10-on-10? It'd be cooler that way. So I'm going to go through my deck that I made and show everyone my strategy, which kind of sounds like a bad idea, but no one's playing right now. There's no one to play in my area who likes chaotic, so I'll take the risk. I collected a lot of chaotic cards, but I never actually built a deck. So when I heard rumors that chaotic might be coming back, I decided to start building, pull all my cards together and start going through eBay to gather them. Speaking of eBay, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Bulbous Store and Chaotic Singles and any other eBay username who sold me chaotic cards. But those 2 are the ones who sold me most of my cards, and I wanted to thank them personally. Chaotic Singles and Bulbous Store, you are awesome. I hope you enjoy my decks. This is a Mipedian Warbeast strike deck. Alright, we'll start with the attack cards. We got 2 Whirling Whales. At first I wanted to do Cyclone Slam, but it only does a lot of damage if a Warbeast uses it, and not all my Mipedians are Warbeasts. And this can stop music cards, which is really helpful. So decided to go with Whirling Whale. I have 2 Slow Sands. I just wanted to do a lot of as much damage as I could, so I chose Slow Sand as the next one. We've got 2 Sandstrike Arrows. All my creatures are Mipedian in this deck, so I don't have to worry about the damage being reduced to 0. Got 2 Funnel Blasts. If Blazvotan uses this attack, it can do 25 damage. I thought about some other card, but I think Funnel Blast would be better. We've got Atmosphere. Like I said, this is a Warbeast strike deck, so my Mipedians will have invisibility. Be a good idea to keep these in. Two Air Assaults, good attack cards. Two Earth Pulse, again, same as Air Assault, good damage. 2 Sentiment Storm Shield, just to heal me, and like if Blazvotan uses it, it'll do 10 damage, which is while I heal 5. And since I'm saying Blazvotan, yes, he's the ace, but I'll show him later. I've got a Velocitrap and Shadow Strike because couldn't think of anything else. I'm confident Speed obviously will win if I do a challenge, and I'd say my Mipedians have high courage and could win a challenge. I'd only have to worry about facing a Maxor in a courage challenge. And finally, Sunderground and Hurricane. Yep, that's my attack deck. If you have an opinion, please put in the comments. But what do you think? And you probably know this, but I decided to use the chaotic card sheet with a gold sheet over it. It'd be double layer it, make it easier to use. Next, we're going to the music. I don't know where music goes here, but whatever. I've got one Fanfare of the Vanishing to give my creatures visibility. One Melody of Mirage to protect me from attacks. One Song of Shelter to protect my Conjurers or my Warbeasts. Notes of Neverwhere. Your opponent could have some dangerous locations. You better be careful. One Gear Glissando. They could also have some dangerous battle gear. You never know. And one Howl of the Wind. I actually have a question about this card that I'll ask you fellow chaotic players at the end. So keep in mind, there's something I wanted to clarify. I went out of order. I should have gone with locations next, but oh well. Next, we'll do the locations. We got 2 Sands of the Unseen to give all my Mipedians invisibility strike 10. Very useful. You've got 2 Catacombs of the Conjurers. Very useful. Never hurts to reduce recklessness. I got 2 Rampa Socks, which increases air and earth by 5. Wonder why the initiative is fire. And at the Mirage, at the end of the combat, creatures gain a Magician. So that could be really helpful. Got 2 of them. This is better than Gloomuk Swamp and Storm Tunnel because it's both of them. Mipedians are good with air and earth attacks. 2 Mipedian Oasis. Mipedians deal 10 additional damage. And finally, 2 Royal Mipedian Academy melee arts. This is really good for Warbeast because reduces non-attack damage to 0. So that means recklessness does squat. And the Mirage is also good. Creatures may not be the target of music. So Cannon of Casualty, Syrian Symphony, those won't do anything to you when it's in Mirage mode. I thought about adding Hunter's Perimeter, but I don't know. If you think I should add Hunter's Perimeter, let me know which card I should take out. But I'm pretty confident with these 5. Now for my 6 creatures. This over here, I'll explain in a moment. Alright, first creature, we have a Peli. I don't know if I said that right. With a Mipedian's Battler's Flute. At first I thought about giving him a Revita flower, but the problem is it wouldn't be revealed. So that would be troubling. This battle gear can be revealed at the beginning of the game. And since his effect is that it reduces a Warbeast recklessness for each Magician on it, I decided to go with this instead of the Revita flower. Because if I decide to go with the Revita flower, I'd have to put an attack like Ares or waste my Magic Gear Glissando to flip my battle gear face up or face down instead of using it on my opponent. This way he can reduce it by 20. Now some of you are probably saying, why not use Savell? Well, I'll explain that, and why I'm going to explain in all my decks. Thing is, I've made a vow not to put any minion creatures in my deck, even if they're from the same tribe. Because what if I'm battling a Mipedian player? Then you'll have to use, if they just have one Mipedian chieftain, you're screwed. So that's why I'm not using Savell, because I'd love to use Savell instead, since he has air attacks as well, but then I'd be in trouble if I faced a Mipedian player. I made a vow not to use minion creatures in any of my decks. The only minion creature who can use their normal effect even while the Mipedians are in play would be Tartarak. But still, not going to do it. For my middle row, we have Alav, which reduces Warbeast recklessness by 5, 55 energy, and I decided to give him a drill dozer to get his energy to 75, so he can last longer in a fight. And there's his stats. For backing him up, I'd put Gaftra with 55 energy. I gave him a Destructozuka so he can have Earth and Earth 5. If anyone targets my Owl Love, my tongue is twisted, Gaftra will take over. Now for the frontliners. On the left, we've got Krillon with a drill dozer as well. There's his stats, his energy. He'll have 75 energy instead. His ability is really good. In the middle, some of you are guessing it's Blaziken. I'm afraid not. I put Ninrin and gave him a Destructozuka to give him Earth and Earth 5. I'm going to say this. I think the Destructozuka is my favorite battle gear. It gives you an element plus element 5. Because with Ninrin's range and swift, he can fly over the front line and attack the back row. With 75, that'd be pretty useful. And I put him in the middle because that way you can choose who you want to attack. And finally, the ace of the deck, the strongest creature, Blaziken. I'm off to the side and I fix the camera. Blaziken with a Warbeast Power Leash. I thought about getting him the Zurium armor, but one, I couldn't find it on eBay, and to be honest, I like the Warbeast Power Leash more. Gives him 5 energy. Sure, he gets more recklessness, so his recklessness will be 30, but he also gets 5 energy for each conjurer. So since I have 2, that means he'll get 15 energy, giving him his energy at 90, and he'll deal an additional 5 attack damage. I'd say the Warbeast Power Leash is a good substitute. So if you want to give him Zurium armor, go ahead, but I think I'll keep my Blaziken with the Warbeast Power Leash. And you can see his stats. Now, before I continue, when I move these around a bit, and what I do if I was doing a 10-on-10 match. These are the 4 creatures, battle gear, and music I would add in a 10-on-10 team. So the music, I've got extra Song of Shelter, But that would have an extra Melody of Mirage. I thought about putting them 2 Melody of Mirage and 2 Song of Shelter in my main 6, but I'd rather have some other options available to me. So I decided I'd only use X double if it was in a 10-on-10 match. A regular 6-on-6 match could last up to an hour if both players are good. Got Trills of Diminution. That's meant to take out my Warbeast recklessness just in case of an emergency, or if I ever run into a dangerous Chaos to take away his fire attacks, or some other creature with an annoying ability. And an Aethium of Stone, which I have a question about. That's my 10 Music that I would use. Now for creatures that I would add to in this, I have a Prince Mudinu, Champion of the Guard, 55 enter with a Citadel Lodestone, so he can do earth attacks. Sorry, blocking it. All my Mipedians, all my Warbeasts would have Invisibility Strike 5. I mean, Invisibility Surprise. Also have a Waiki, giving all my Mipedians Invisibility Strike 5 and 20 extra speed. Thanks to Prince Mudinu, they'll have Invisibility Surprise. He has Air 5, and I gave him a Citadel Lodestone. At first, I gave Mudinu and a Waiki the Destructozukas, but then I thought, since the Warbeasts are fighting on the front lines, they should have the Destructozukas. Well, Ninrin. Gaftra's in the back protecting the Conjurers. And up on the front line next to Blazvitan, I decided to put Uberon. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why Uberon with the Warbeast Palish? Well, he's the only other Warbeast I could think of in this deck that would be useful. Gloss, I don't want to lose any of my Conjurers, so Gloss was out. He only brings out his full power when the Conjurers are destroyed. Ixik, I thought about him, but his ability forces all other creatures to have their energy reduced by 10. It's not much, but it's still a drain. I don't like that. So, just wasn't a good idea. And Titanax and Ere, if that's how you say their name, they weren't. I think it was pretty obvious why I didn't use them. Ere is a no because I already have Ninrin, and Titanax can't even do air or earth attacks. But even though his intimidation is pretty good, if only he had air and earth, I'd probably pick him instead. But I've also noticed that a lot of players put creatures that can do fire and water attacks, so I decided to go with Uberon. And a Warbeast Power Leash as well to give him 70 energy. Yeah, he'll have 70 energy. He can be like a tank shield. I decide to, and I'm sure some of you are thinking, what about that Warbeast? Well, that Warbeast is right here. Koror. Yep, I got one. With minimum energy, but I got one. And I gave him a Sandstorm Shroud so he can do air attacks. I'm putting him in the back row because he needs to build up his music counters before I can send him into battle, or else I'm in trouble. Because I know he also gains a Magician counter when a music or ability targets that way. Whenever, well, sorry, my tongue is twisting up like crazy, but these Warbeasts get hit by music or ability, and they will, he'll get a Magician counter. And he'll probably have 5 or 6 before they can get to Koror in the back. And that'll be enough to start fighting back. So this would be my Mipedian Warbeast strike team if it was a 10-on-10 match. Now here's my quick question to all you chaotic experts, because I'm not 100% sure. So this is mainly about the music. Say I'm battling at Mipedian Oasis with Koror, and I use one of their musics to cast Aethium of Stone to give Koror Earth along with his air. So now he can do air and earth. My question is, does Koror keep the element of earth even after the turn is over? So say I win the battle with Koror, and then they go to the lava. My opponent picks the lava pond as their next location. Will Koror still have earth, or does he lose it after the battle at the Mipedian Oasis? Because it doesn't say anything about till the end of the turn like a Heme of the Elements would. Does he get to keep the earth until he's destroyed, or does it stop at the end of the battle? Because this also affects one of my other decks. I want to make sure I'm not cheating or anything. That's my question. I'd appreciate it if all of you could comment and let me know. Whew. Boy, talking a lot sure makes you thirsty. So yeah, that's my question to all you chaotic experts, because I'm not 100% sure. And what do you think of my Mipedian Warbeast strike deck? It's the best I could do. And as an added treat, I'll show you some other cards that I have collected on eBay and through other means. Doing this one-handed since I'm sitting on the carpet because it was the only best place I could. These are some extra attack cards. If wondering if I should add any of them to my deck, if you think I should, please let me know. Should have done this earlier before I recorded. Got an extra. Thinking about Circo, Cyclone Slam, Blind Fury. Anything helps. And these are the music that I thought would be good in the deck, but I decided to go with the others. Song of Translocation, Tunazirium, and Harmonics of the Wind. This is for Marillions. If I put Savell in my deck, I definitely have to put this in my deck to protect Savell. And finally, the extra battle gear. A Torwig, Breath of the Desert, Revita Flowers, and an extra Mipedian's Vow. Truthfully, I think my deck is fine the way it is, but if you think I should change it, let me know. And as another added bonus, I want to show you some of my chaotic card collections that I'm not planning on taking out, because I either have better versions of it or I just don't want to use them. Alrighty. This Yes, I have an Ani, the Orcloth. It's brand new. I was actually looking for a Talking on the Shadow Knight, but I got this instead. His energy is at 50 in his other side. Guess you'll want to see it. Let me cover his... I was actually looking for Talking on the Shadow Knight, but I got this instead when I bought a booster box last month. It's brand new. I may sell it on eBay, but not anytime soon. So don't ask for it. Got a Nevena, the Lieutenants. Got a Maxor and a Vena. A Maxor with max energy. Kaor with max energy. Talking on the Shadow Knight. I actually like the other artwork of Talking on the Shadow Knight. This one's cool, but I think the other one is better. So I'm putting that in my Underworld deck. Nevena, minimum energy, did not like that. I've collected a lot of cards, but never built a deck. Got Ere, Titanax, Colmo, Ixic with minimum energy, Prince Mudinu, Gloss. I would have used Hobek because his ability reduces Warbeast's recklessness by 10 for each element, so that's 20 for all my Warbeasts. Problem is, he has no elements, no magicians. That kind of sucks. Otherwise, I would have gladly put him. Belonkin, I don't know. Savell, like I said, I made a solemn vow not to put brainwashed creatures in my decks or risk the wrath of the Marillions. Got Arish, Ranon, 40 G, Fivar, Drames, not really in the mood to use them. Got an extra Warbeast Paraleash, Rubon, an Ixic with 85 energy. I would have put him, but I thought Uberon would be better. Bavike, he's anti-Marillion. Yao-Lin, Malik, Ario, Headmaster Akaja. I don't know if I said that right. I really want the regular one. Ribian, Colmo Purified, Kuhn, Solitary Scout. I really liked him when I was first introduced to Chaotic. The first Chaotic episode was Shifting Sands, where Tom met Tian. That was the first episode I ever watched of Chaotic, and it's what got me addicted to it. Especially Cyclone Slam. It's my favorite attack, even though I have to think about the strategy more than the pride. Keith, you'll notice that Kuhn and Keith are in a similar area. It's because they were escorting Enrahap after he helped Nadjarin and the other High Muges raise this citadel. Got Jad, Dig Site Defender, Sylve, Servant of Air, San. And here are the locations. If you see one that I should swap out in my Mipedian Warbeast strike deck or my other decks that I'll show in the future, let me know. The Storms, the Cliffs, the Garden, Lake Kenepo. This is actually a good card to use against creatures that use their ability Expend, where they expend an element. It's dangerous, but it's also good. So if you have Maxor Elemental Champion, do not put this in your location deck or you're in trouble. The Philiston, Stronghold Morn, a Glumuk Swamp. I'd rather have Rampasak, Gothos Tower, and Iron Pillar. Those would be Underworld options. And I have a Nuckworm, Tangeth Toborn, and Bareth Beyond. The Generals. Thank you, Chaotic Singles, for giving me this. Got an extra Como and Zod with 70 energy. And Zod with 45 energy. A Stiluk. I would have made him one of my main overworld creatures back when it was just Dawn of the Param. Got Magmon engulfed. I've got a better one with better stats. Kaor. Another Kaor with 75 energy. Max speed and max courage. Fortunately, he was slightly damaged because I was an idiot. Look, he was roughed up a bit. Navena, max energy. I'll show you my underworld deck next. We got Hunter's Perimeter. This would be a locate and Crystal Cave. These would be one of the locations I'd swap out in my Mipedian deck if you think I should. Tell me which locations I should swap out for this one. Or for one of these. But right now I'm quite happy with the 10 locations that I picked. These are overworld locations. Fear Valley would be helping my overworld. And Land Road. And those are all my special chaotic cards in my opinion. But yeah, here's all my extra attack, battle gear, and Mujiks. Other than that, this is my Mipedian Warbeast strike deck. Hope it was awesome. Sorry if my voice sounds awful. I've been talking so loud. Tune in next week for my other 2 chaotic decks that I'll be posting. I'll give you a little preview of what's to come, or who the aces of those decks are. Dun, dun, na, na, na. As John Hammond said, spare no expense. The aces of my overworld and underworld deck. I thought about Marillions, but I like the overworlders and underworlders more. Mipedians are obviously in first place, but I like overworlders and underworlders more. Danians, they're just too confusing in my opinion. Hive ability, infection ability, or something else. And they didn't really interest me. I like the Mipedians the most because they're dinosaurs and dragon related. And Blazvitan and Ixix sometimes make me think of Godzilla. That's how awesome they are. So if you see a card that I should add to this Mipedian deck, let me know. But in my opinion, I think I like it just the way it is. And please, answer my question I have about Howl of the Wind and Aethium of Stone. Do my creatures keep the element or until they're destroyed, or do they lose it after the end of the battle it was activated? Or turn, I should say. I'd really appreciate it. And well, I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you to every eBay user who gave me all these great cards. You got your money's worth. Bulbasaur and Chaotic Singles, I want to thank you guys the most. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.